Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're here to see two different perspectives on what is happening in cybersecurity world and whether AI has changed the landscape or not. My name is Lisa, I work in Devoteam, and I have with me today Nico Sinert and Angarda Prameswari. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what have brought you into the security world? Let's start with Nico.
Yes, first of all, thanks for having me. Indeed, Nico Sinert. I'm the security lead at Microsoft. So I'm overseeing our security business from a sales, marketing, and operations perspective.
Very nice. And how did you end up in security?
Well, I started my career as a consultant, and then, time over time, security became more and more important, I would say, in the organizations. Before, it was a firewall and some network security, but now over time, the world was changing, and I make the same evolution, and then I started to sell security solutions, and now I'm overseeing security business. So.
Nice. And you, Angarda?
Yes, I'm cybersecurity specialist at Devoteam. Personally, for me, I've always been quite vigilant about all things related to security. So when I started my career within security monitoring, naturally it grew towards the area of threat detections, detection engineering, and now I'm helping customers with their security operation processes that needs to be implemented better with the tools from Microsoft at Devoteam for over 5 years now.
Thank you so much. Nico, as Microsoft, you certainly have a lot of insights on what threats do customers have these days. Can you share some of the insights that you have observed recently?
Yeah, for sure. So every year we launch our digital defense report where we look back on the year and what we have seen. And that's our worldwide numbers. And there we see thousands of password attacks every second. We see a lot of ransomware as a service, DDoS attacks are increasing exponentially. We also see open source attacks more than 800% more. So a lot of things are going on. But I saw a number internally very recently, and that really blows my mind again to realize how big cybercrime is today. And the number was $8 trillion, and that's the total cost of cybercrime today. So if you would take the assumption that cybercrime would be a nation, it would be the third nation in the world after US and China. So that's phenomenal. And even more, it would be the biggest grower, so with 50% year over year from a GDP perspective. So that's crazy. Yeah.
Not sure I would want to live in that nation.
No.
But the question is, what about basics? What are the most lowest level problems that the companies are having?
Well, you pointed right. If you talk with a lot of customers, we still see that they struggle with getting the basics right. Hackers don't break in, they log in, so they're always looking after identity breaches, and multi-factor authentication is super important there. Unfortunately, we still see a lot of organizations without MFA enabled. Patch management the same. 99% of attacks that are leveraging a vulnerability, actually a patch is existing. So also there, please patch. And then lastly, it's also understanding their footprint, right? You can only protect what you know. So also there, we see that organizations are struggling. Yeah.
Maybe I'm biased because I work in an IT company, but I thought that MFA and passwords has been already a long time solved thing. And Garda, is it still that much of a problem?
Yes, unfortunately, it is still a big of problem. From what I've observed from Microsoft Defenders, for example, I think the most frequent alerts are often identity-based attacks. And this could start from a simple phishing attempt, be it a targeted one or not, but this could laterally move to something bigger like data exploitations, which could end up as ransomware attacks. And some of the tactics that the threat actor use could involve brute force attempt, password spray, or even adversary in the middle. So it's still clear that password vulnerabilities remain a big problem for us.
Just so from my understanding, what is adversary in the middle?
Oh, yes. So adversary in the middle is a type of cyber attack where the attacker intercepts and alter the communication between two parties or maybe more while keeping everything looks like it's legit. So it is dangerous because you never know that your communication has been tampered. And the attackers could steal your sensitive information, your credentials, or even worse, inject malicious content. And from what I've seen, most companies that have large architectures, they struggle with these kind of threats because they are lacking the visibility of what's happening within an environment. For instance, one of our customers within the financial sector, they face major delay in the way they handle incident response because they have fragmented security tools. So we have helped them in the past by implementing Microsoft Sentinel, which is a cloud-native security information and event management, to help them unify a view that they can see what's going on within the environments. And these really help them to reduce the response time from a couple of days to just a couple of hours. And having this response time to be quick is very important in a time like this.
You mentioned an interesting thing that the large organizations have complex infrastructure. Does that mean that the smaller customers will not have as much of the problems? Let's start with you, but I also want to hear Nico's perspective.
Yeah, I think everyone is a victim out there. The attacker will not see you in regards if you're big or not. But the problem with with companies with large architectures or more complex is that the time they need to respond would be way slower because if it's a global company, then you need to involve multiple departments. Smaller companies, they are still going to be attacked, but probably their speed of response is not going to be as long as compared to the bigger one. But everyone is pretty much the same.
And same for you, Nico? You see
Yeah, I agree. If you're small or big, basically a hacker is always trying the path of the less resistance, and he will try everything to get in. And if it's a small company or a bigger company, in the end, if they want to ransomware it, it's money that comes in for their business. As I mentioned in the beginning, ransomware as a service, so you see it more and more as a kind of companies around it, so they will even help you. And they have a service for a help desk. So if you want to recover your environment, they will help you out as long as you pay. So this is how the guys are working these days.
Everything is as a service these days.
Yes. Exactly.
Speaking of these days and going future, recently I've read the European Union's Agency for Cybersecurity report, and they took a lot of experts and asked them what would be the most influential threat by year 2030. And the three things that they had in the top of the list was the supply chain attacks. There was a human error, and to my surprise, lack of skills. Do you believe it's the same threats that will be coming in the future?
For sure, challenges. Supply chain, for sure. It's not for nothing that it's a top requirement in the NIS regulation that's coming up. So you need to understand what the supply chain is around you and what risk it can come through that supply chain. For the rest, configuration drift, of course. We are humans, we are making errors. Also there, we have to look for technology that always can help us and make sure that we don't make any mistakes there. And then talent, I think the last number I've seen, 3.5 million security experts we are missing worldwide. So also there, we try to help by investing in generative AI applications, for instance, to make sure that we can help customers there. At least if they don't find the talent all the time, that they can engage more junior people and that we can help them ramping up much faster thanks to technology. Yeah.
I see. And for you, Angarda?
Yes, I do agree that supply chain compromises are major concern. And I also can relate with what Nico has said previously. With the help of AI, basically we can help bridging the skill gaps that we have by providing, for example, real-time data to help us stay ahead of threats. But in the same time, having AI also introduced another layer of complexity and security because AI can be manipulated, it can hallucinate with false data. I believe with the right implementations and controls that are in place, AI can help us reduce this risk by providing us with smarter, more intuitive solutions that can also adapt over time.
It's interesting that both of you already mentioned AI in this part. We have talked about the AI data in the company, but how do companies see AI in the cybersecurity solutions? What's their philosophy over there? Angarda, do you know it?
Yes, we have definitely seen a big interest of AI-driven security solutions within our customers. From what I've seen in the field, as a matter of fact, people have actually been using the AI that are publicly available. So basically, they will ask questions and then they will manually incorporate these answers to their work, which is really helpful for them, of course, but it also is very time-consuming and also it has security risk because they could potentially expose their sensitive data to the AI that are public. So there is a clear demand that AI needs to be integrated within the existing tools that they have so that they can help them with their work, enhance security, and also efficiency of their work.
Thank you. Nico, what's Microsoft's perspective on that?
Gen AI, it's coming. You need to embrace it as your business will introduce it, so you better understand it. So you have the phenomenon of shadow IT. Well, now you have shadow AI, right? So, and we see that organizations are a bit reluctant because, what data is accessed? What about model poisoning? What is the outcome of these Gen AI applications? So it's very important that organizations start to understand what their GenAI footprint is. And we did a survey lately, for instance, to give you an idea. 93% of organizations have already any kind of GenAI applications within their environment. But if you ask the security leaders, do you feel comfortable to manage and control them on a secure way? Only 1% says yes. And so it's clear we have a challenge there, and we as market maker within GenAI, we are absolutely responsible there also to make organizations more mature on that. That said, we will also introduce GenAI capabilities in cybersecurity. Thanks to our collaboration with OpenAI, we made there big acceleration. So we bring the Copilot to the market. That's how we brand it. And so you will see Copilots all over the place, like in M365, like in GitHub, even Minecraft. And we have also a Copilot for security. And that's really a virtual assistant sitting next to you. So you can ask questions to it in a natural language. And then it will come back with an answer. Very, very promising to see how we will shift the industry there, because for me it's really a paradigm shift. We have to do things differently. All the big challenges we have discussed in the beginning, it's clear we need to do stuff differently, and this is definitely where GenAI applications can help us.
I'm curious about the naming convention. Why Copilot?
Well, actually, we thought about it, of course. It's not an autopilot, so it will not do everything for you. You're still in the driver's seat, you're the pilot, and you have the virtual assistant next to you as a co-pilot.
Interesting. I have seen myself M365 Copilot. I haven't seen Copilot for security yet. I would imagine there were companies who tested it already. What was the feedback? How did they react?
Very good. So basically what we want to achieve with GenAI is speed, right? Defense at machine speed. So that's how we call it, because that's super crucial these days. And this is actually what we also see in the survey. If you talk to customers that were in the early adoption program, or customers that are using it now because the product is generally available by now, you really see that they are faster executing tasks. They are more productive. The quality of their work is better. It's more easy to analyze scripts and to create custom queries, because that's also what Copilot can do for you. It can create just a query for you. You don't have to be a query specialist yourself anymore. So you see indeed that they accelerate a lot. And maybe a small anecdote. It's the first time in the history of Microsoft that we made an early adoption program payable. So I was really surprised to see how the market would react. And worldwide, we had a couple of hundred slots available, and within weeks, everything was taken. So this is showing again how the market is curious to understand how GenAI applications can help them to bring their security posture to the next level.
Angarda, have you seen already Copilot for security? What's your thoughts about it?
Yes, I have played around with Copilot for security, and then I have also explored the options there. I think it's very promising, especially for security operations people, the analysts, or even just the whole team itself, because it really helped you to accelerate things. And for example, Nico mentioned about queries. Right now, when you need to build queries, you need to build it from scratch. By having the Copilot for security, it can build it for you, and you just need to ask it with a natural language. So it's very promising, and on top of that, it can also help you automate processes by also just the natural language that they use. So I'm really keen to see how this will change the landscape of cybersecurity itself.
To continue on that, how does Devoteam integrate tools like Copilot for security, Microsoft Sentinel, and others for our customers in Middle East, in Africa, and in Europe, of course, our home base?
Yes, and at Devoteam, we, of course, strive to protect organizations with end-to-end security solutions with Microsoft latest technologies, and we also maintain close relationship with our customers because we want to help them understanding their unique challenges and identify their capabilities. Within the area of security itself, we have one key offering, which is called Cloud Enabler for Security. It is a framework that we have developed ourselves within Devoteam to help customers with a structured methodology to help them assess and advise what's the best practices. And we will also then help them to implement the technologies that they need, be it an identity, data protections, or even threat detections. And on top of that, we could also be an extended security team for them, providing managed services as well. And of course, we love our Microsoft technologies, but we can also go beyond that to provide extra support for them.
Extra support like what? Maybe you can share one of your favorite examples of what we have done recently.
Yeah, that's a good question. My favorite is the work that we have done with educational institutions in the past, where they have the bring your own device policy. This bring your own device policy means that faculty or students, they can use their personal devices like laptops or smartphones for school activities. While it is convenient for them to use, but it also adds a layer of complexity because when these endpoints are not managed well or securely, it could generate false alerts or just a lot of alerts overall. So we have helped them in the past by implementing, again, Microsoft Sentinel to help them with more granular control of the alertings. And this is really helpful for them because it reduced the alert fatigue to up to 82%. And it's a big number because this really allowed them to actually prioritize in the real threats and the critical issues that they need to be dealing with.
Thank you a lot. Any final thoughts you would want to share with the audience before we wrap up? Let's start with Nico.
For sure. If you talk to the markets and listen to customers, what their problems they are struggling with cybercrime, actually it always boils down to the same. It's complexity, and complexity is slowing you down. And one of the examples of complexity is they have a big tool set. Gartner, they also did a survey there. Typically, an organization of mid-size have more than 70 security tools within their environments. So doing that end-to-end protection is quite a challenge to have that integration. So that's why we are a strong believer of our platform to make sure that our customers can consolidate. But of course, we cannot do everything. And security is really a team sport, so that platform needs to be open. So if the customer decides to take another niche player for something else, that they easily can plug in their solution in the platform, but at the same time, they can do that consolidation. So that would really my advice. Try to reduce your complexity within your environment. Don't be afraid of GenAI. Really start to embrace it. And I think the success of security teams in the future will really be measured on GenAI to make sure that they can really answer on that request of being fast and speed. Yeah.
Thank you. And you, Engarda?
Pretty similar to what Nico has mentioned. Basically, if you want to be ahead of threats, you need to embrace latest technologies like AI or Gen AI. And it's not only about adopting AI, but you also need to leverage them effectively to outsmart the threat actors out there. And of course, for companies, it's very important to work with trusted partners. And at Devoteam, we are dedicated to help our customers with latest innovative solutions and also expert supports that they need to tackle these challenges. And we also work together with Microsoft. We have a close relationship with Microsoft. And we are also dedicated to be a top Microsoft security partners to make sure that we give the best possible support for our customers.
Thank you so much. I definitely learned quite a lot from today's discussion, and I'm hoping that we made you more comfortable with AI in security space. And if you want to learn more about Devoteam's security offering, make sure to visit devo.team/Microsoft. Bye.